Tonight, tens of millions on alert for violent storms, tornadoes ravaging parts of Alabama. The state's at risk right now. The dangerous flooding across the South, drivers rescued from swamped roads, this ominous funnel cloud forming, and this waterspout engulfing a group of beachgoers, plus the new risk tonight. Also breaking, the deadly disaster out west. Crews racing to find people missing in the rubble after a blast at a packaging plant in Washington. Others rushed to the hospital. What went wrong? Plus, the thousands still displaced in California over that toxic emergency involving a chemical tank, where the threat now stands. New U.S. strikes on Iran in response to Iranian attacks. Will these new clashes derail the peace talks? White House cage match. New video of construction of the UFC outdoor arena soaring above the West Wing. What we're learning about the big fight. NASA's big reveal for a major base on the moon. We'll show you the blueprints just released. Teen takeover chaos. Wild video of police tackling and arresting dozens of teens. An 18-year-old facing attempted murder for plowing his car into a group of police officers as this dangerous trend spreads nationwide. NFL burglary ring bust. The international arrest after thieves targeted Travis Kelce and other pro athletes. How authorities finally tracked them down. Alcatraz ferry crash, glass shattering, passengers knocked off their feet after a boat left the infamous prison and smashed into a pier. Bizarre video of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wrangling two snakes, even getting bit. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We begin tonight with severe weather ripping across the South. Thunderstorms and flash flooding inundating neighborhoods. And right now, some areas bracing for multiple inches of rain. In Alabama, take a look at this. Tornadoes ripping across the state, destroying homes and tearing down trees. One twister even striking a local TV station. Security footage capturing the building shaking before the glass just shatters, sending an employee running. You can see it at the top of your screen there, the top of the window at the entrance, totally blown out. The South also grappling with dangerous flooding, drivers needing to be rescued from the rising water. And the threat is far from over at this hour. Look at this. 30 million people are under flood alerts across the South and the Ohio Valley. All of this as the region recovers from that washout over Memorial Day weekend. Aaron Gilchrist and his team leading us off tonight from the storm zone.
Oh, my God.
Unrelenting severe weather once again unloading on the South. From an apparent waterspout ripping through a Florida beach.
It's coming right at us.
To this ominous funnel cloud over Alabama, where at least 3 reported tornadoes touched down overnight. The twisters bringing down trees and blocking roads, homes completely destroyed. One even tearing the roof off a local TV station while a meteorologist continued live on air.
A tornado has just gone through the station here at WDHN.
Security footage appears to show one person trying to leave the building when suddenly the glass begins to shake and is sucked out by the passing twister. Tonight, 30 million people under flood alerts just a day after dangerous flooding in Texas, stranding drivers, people jumping in to push this stuck car.
Just be advised, the car is going towards the creek. We got an infant in the car.
Frightening moments as first responders rush to this vehicle trapped in a swollen creek, a baby inside.
Yeah, give me the baby.
Cover him, cover him.
And in Georgia, days of rain saturating the ground under this tree until it collapsed into a neighboring house.
It sounded more like an explosion. And we came upstairs to see what was going on to the tree in the house.
The cleanup continues as the region braces for more storms.
Let's pick it up right there. Aaron Gilchrist joins us now live. And Aaron, we see that damage right there to that home. More severe weather is on the way. But first, how is that family doing tonight?
Well, Tom, I can tell you nobody was hurt in the house here, but you can see just how bad the damage is. This tree really just punching right through the roof here. The homeowner tells me 2/3 of this house just crushed by this tree here, and the rain keeps falling. You're right. There is that concern about flooding, flash flooding happening here that could last into each day of this week. Tom?
Aaron Gilchrist leading us off tonight. Aaron, we thank you for that. We have breaking news from Washington State, a deadly chemical disaster at a packaging plant there. A massive tank filled with hazardous liquids imploding this morning, killing multiple people and severely injuring others. It comes as thousands of people remain evacuated in Southern California as a chemical tank there remains a threat. Steve Patterson is covering it all.
3401 Industrial Way at Nippon for a hazmat burn.
Tonight, a deadly chemical disaster ravaging this packaging plant in Washington State, spawning yet another hazmat emergency out west.
It was roughly an 80,000 gallon tank that was roughly 60% full.
Officials alongside the company say the incident is in a recovery phase.
We have confirmed that there are fatalities, but the exact number is undetermined.
He says they're still looking for missing people. One of those killed was 52-year-old Gilbert Bernal, who worked at the plant along with his son. While multiple individuals suffered life-threatening injuries, including serious chemical burns, when a tank filled with hazardous liquid imploded in southern Washington this morning. Onlookers visibly shaken.
It's kind of sad. I'm hoping they all make a recovery from it.
Officials say there's no threat to the public as they work to investigate what happened. Meanwhile, in Orange County, the risk remains for 16,000 still evacuated residents. Crews working around the clock to cool and stabilize the compromised tank.
Right now, we still have a potential for a fire problem or a fireball, and then there's also the potential for a leak if this cracks.
This week, authorities said the possibility for a catastrophic explosion was eliminated.
There was no contamination. There were no fumes. There were no vapors that came from this incident.
Denise Guerrero is one of the last few people left at this nearby shelter.
We were so close to the tanks.
She fears that even with a smaller explosion, her neighborhood would be destroyed.
And the house is in full view of the tanks. So we pretty much felt that as scenario 1 and 2 were outlined to us, that our homes would be in a crater.
All right, Steve joins us now live. Steve, that tank is not far from where you are tonight.
Yeah, and Tom, we've seen a heavy police presence here. The sheriff's department blocking that street. That tank only about a mile or so down the road. Authorities say right now it is simply too hot, too unstable for those residents to return. They're working on a plan to make it safe. Tom?
Steve Patterson for us. Steve, thank you. The fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran nearly broke down today, with the U.S. attacking Iranian missile launch sites and boats. Richard Engel is in the region tonight in Jerusalem. And Richard, the U.S. says this was in retaliation for those Iranian strikes?
Yes, the U.S. is describing this as an act of self-defense. 2 U.S. military officials tell NBC News that Iran had been firing at American aircraft, launching drones and small boats for about 24 hours before the U.S. responded with what one of those officials says were very limited and precise strikes. Iran called it a violation of the ceasefire and vowed retaliation. But nonetheless, peace talks did still continue in Doha, Qatar. And tomorrow, President Trump is convening a wider cabinet meeting, reportedly to discuss Iran. Tom?
All right, Richard, thank you for that. We want to turn to politics now. Back here in the States, President Trump is promising the greatest show on earth at the White House next month. UFC Fight Night right there on the South Lawn. And they're already building the fight cage outside the West Wing. Gabe Gutierrez with the new images tonight.
Tonight, new construction is underway for an unprecedented spectacle. A cage fight at the White House. A massive arch taller than the building itself, part of a makeshift arena for an upcoming Ultimate Fighting Championship event.
I have never seen anybody want anything so much as people want those tickets.
Gets you over the top with that right hand.
The mixed martial arts matches are scheduled for June 14th to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. The date for the fight also happens to be President Trump's birthday.
It's a remarkable sight, the construction looming over the West Wing and the cranes for the ballroom project on the other side. The president has said that this temporary arena will hold more than 4,000 people.
We are going to pull off the boldest idea in sports history.
Tickets are free, and the UFC is footing the bill for the event. But NBC News has learned sponsorship packages that include ringside seats have been selling for $1 million or more, according to a Republican lobbyist familiar with the process. Decades ago, the president hosted boxing matches at his casinos. And he's often seen at UFC fights.
I know President Trump is a fighter.
UFC's president Dana White endorsing him in 2024.
I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life.
Trump supporter and UFC announcer Joe Rogan will be there, though Rogan also called the event a gimmick. Life is a gimmick, the president responded, but it's a good gimmick. It's going to be amazing.
All right, Gabe, we see that construction right there behind you. And to be clear, these will be real fights. This is not an exhibition.
Yes, Tom, MMA fights can get bloody, but the president's been a fan for a long time, and Dana White says it was the president's idea to hold this fight here at the White House. The fighters are even set to walk out from the Oval Office. Tom.
Okay, Gabe, and there is a high-profile fight tonight in Texas, where President Trump is putting his endorsement winning streak on the line, urging Republicans to vote out four-term incumbent Senator John Cornyn in a GOP primary runoff. Ryan Chandler with the big interview tonight.
Tonight, the Texas-sized test of President Trump's pull in the largest Republican state.
And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win.
Can Texas's four-term Senator John Cornyn convince voters to stick with him against President Trump's endorsement of State Attorney General Ken Paxton? We spoke to Cornyn tonight.
Did it strike you as a slap in the face to see him endorse your opponent?
I think it's a sign of President Trump's frustration. Most presidents get frustrated with the Senate because things happen more slowly than they would like. And certainly President Trump can be an impatient guy. But again, I've supported his agenda.
President Trump calling Paxton a true MAGA warrior while blasting Cornyn as very disloyal to me. But Cornyn has the backing of top Senate leaders. The president was pressed about it last week.
Some of them don't know how to win. I know how to win. I think I've proven that, haven't I?
Trump-endorsed candidates have won big in primaries this year, with Republican voters also rejecting incumbents the president campaigned against. Paxton says Cornyn is next.
I've been asking every voter, whether it's one voter or thousands, what has John accomplished that's good for the state of Texas or the country? And you know what? No one's ever had an answer.
Though Paxton has faced scandal, including impeachment and a high-profile divorce, Cornyn arguing Paxton's past gives Democrats an opening.
You believe that if Paxton is at the top of the Republican ticket, that the party risks losing this seat that they've held for decades?
Absolutely. A scandal-ridden candidate like Ken Paxton, with all the baggage that he brings, puts all that at risk.
Still, Senator Cornyn tells me he does think his party will unify in November, no matter the result tonight. Tom.
Ryan Chandler from the campaign trail there in Texas tonight. Ryan, thank you. We are getting our first look tonight from NASA at a proposed base on the moon itself. Here's Tom Costello.
Take a look at NASA's vision of a future moon base. Massive, potentially hundreds of square miles on the lunar surface, complete with astronaut living quarters, lunar rovers, and power stations, with the ultimate goal of heading to Mars.
And we want to be in an environment where we can learn the skills so that astronauts can go and plant the stars and stripes on Mars someday.
Splashdown confirmed.
NASA's moon base plans come just 6 weeks after the Artemis II mission that sent astronauts around the moon for the first time in 50 years. NASA hopes to land Artemis IV astronauts on the moon in 2028. Building a moon base will come in 3 phases starting this year, eventually using drones and rovers to scout the best landing sites near the South Pole. In 2029, they'll begin assembling the moon base, including solar and nuclear power systems. Then in 2032, the first astronauts will begin living and working on the moon.
Artemis astronauts will stay longer, explore farther, and conduct the kinds of science that advances exploration itself.
With China also aiming to build a lunar base, NASA plans to establish a perimeter around the American base. It's an ambitious timeline, and NASA will need to learn and react fast and mitigate the risks, including from long-term radiation exposure and micrometeorites that shower the moon. Tom?
All right, Tom, thank you for that. When we return in 60 seconds, teen takeover chaos, the dangerous trend across the country, and now one teen facing attempted murder charges. That's next. We are back now with the dangerous viral trend known as teen takeovers, where large groups of teens descend on a specific area. In Chicago, one incident turned violent with dozens arrested and several others hospitalized. And now some are saying it's time to charge parents for their kids' actions. Here's Maggie Vespa.
Tonight, dramatic new video of Chicago police pinning people down and struggling to quell massive Memorial Day crowds. Police say 53 people were arrested and nearby 3 teens were shot. This 24 hours after investigators say an 18-year-old plowed his car into a crowd of 5 officers, all now in fair condition. The teen charged with attempted murder. 2 so-called teen takeovers in 24 hours. A viral trend sweeping the nation with massive gatherings organized online and unleashed on unsuspecting communities coast to coast, often turning chaotic or violent. In Tampa, police body camera video shows massive fights amid a teen takeover earlier this month. Here, you see the mayhem from above. Authorities say 22 people were arrested as young as 12. Another brawl breaking out at this Chipotle in Washington, D.C. And outside Milwaukee, cars spinning out in this intersection. Authorities last month responding to 12 teen takeovers in one weekend. Now, Chicago officials weighing targeting parents, with one representative proposing charging parents of minors arrested at teen takeovers after the city's 10 p.m. curfew with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, a Class A misdemeanor punishable by up to a $2,500 fine and 364 days in jail.
This strategy of potentially charging parents, do you think it would be effective?
I think that it's a start. We need to have a proactive approach from police, whereas they should be monitoring social media to establish where these meetups would be occurring and placing officers accordingly.
One idea as desperation to rein in teen takeovers grows. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Chicago.
And we're back in a moment with new arrests tied to a string of high-profile burglaries against pro athletes, including Travis Kelce. That's next. We are back now with new arrests tied to a string of burglaries against professional athletes, including NFL players Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The thieves stole jewelry, high-end watches, and money, snapped photos in some cases. Authorities say 2 Chilean citizens have now been arrested in Argentina and are awaiting extradition back to the U.S. And here in the States, a terrifying boat crash caught on camera. Look at this. Video taken below deck shows a ferry headed from Alcatraz back to San Francisco, smashing into a pier. You can hear passengers on board screaming as the boat crashes and the windows shatter, sending glass flying. No word yet on what caused this crash or if any of the passengers were seriously injured. And take a look at this wild video. That's Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. grabbing a couple of snakes. A pair of black racers, he said, with his bare hands. You can see they jump up and bite him. Kennedy posted the video on social media saying he was removing them from Dr. Oz's patio. That's Nightly News for this Tuesday. I'm Tom Yamas. We thank you so much for watching. Tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.